Welcome to another exciting edition of Gem Collectors with Sean. I am Sean, and a couple things to go over with you in this show, but I need to cover one of the most important things. And I know you're seeing this after the fact, but I'm recording this the day before Veterans Day. So, of course, with a recently passed away father that was a veteran, and my son who is an active major in the foreign, what they call a FAO, a foreign area office. So he's of course traveled the world and been a, since the day he got out of college, a member of the armed services, is someone I'm very proud of, and for his commitment, 10 months on the very front lines, and I'm talking about seeing the real active duty in Afghanistan. And so there's always sacrifices made, not only by the person participating in the event, but by the families. And believe me, it was a worrisome 10 months, and onwards, as a parent and family always share in that sacrifice. So remember not only to thank the veterans themselves, but the families that support those veterans. And as a nation, we need to get behind all of our armed services. They're true heroes. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And yes, as a comment, I meant to say in the last show that I did early voting, and so did Raven. So we got that done. But it looks like here, being in Georgia, we'll get to vote one more time. Okay, we have got an exciting show planned with you. Now, as you saw, it was very easy to see the trivia questions last week, and that wasn't completely intentional, but it was wonderful that Asif was able to incorporate the trivia questions in as a written statement instead of not holding them at all. You know, when you try to trust your life to electronics, yeah, they don't always do as they're supposed to. So I apologize for that, and but we got the gist of the show in, didn't we? And I am thankful to production for that, and I'm sure all of you, which I am so thankful that not a single one of you commented about that error. And for that, I guess I'm just thankful, because you just realized that the show still went on and that things were taken care of and it didn't need to be commented on. And thanks. Okay, let's get first to the trivia questions. Question number one was, in a Russian demantoid garnet, which is a type of andradite garnet, belongs to the andradite family, what mineral is the horsetail inclusion formed from? And you often have to really read into my questions, sometimes a step further scientifically, and Barbara did. So we'll get to her comment here in a moment. So the question, of course, exactly was, and in this case, it was written, it was not me kind of repeating it three different ways. It was specifically, what mineral is the horsetail inclusion formed from? Formed from. Okay, so just remember those two words. Question number two, oh, by the way, answer, asbestos. And we'll elaborate that when we get to Barbara's statement. Question number two, what is a common cause of etching in crystal and mineral specimens? That answer, of course, I think I've said it over the years multiple different times, and usually there's pretty much only one answer, and that is a hydrothermal solution. Not stating what kind of hydrothermal solution, could be simple as boiling water, but in many cases, to do etching on certain specimens, it's usually a much higher temperature kind of thermal solution. Now, hydro, of course, means water, but it's often, you know, water incorporated with many other different minerals in that solution. So you never know. So hydrothermal solutions kind of covers it all and is the answer. Okay, so let's get started to, first we have, and listen to where this client comes to us from. Hi, my name is Dennis, and I'm new to your show. My wife, Jan B., who, by the way, Mr. Dennis, I'm not going to say the last name just out of courtesy, but I know her well, and she is well known to the rock and mineral family here, and it is so wonderful to hear from her via you. So my wife, Jan, has been watching you for about 20 years or so. Yeah, she's been around. She got the crystal ball from you about 3 years ago. I am so thankful getting to watch your shows and listening to your podcast. I'm learning so much. I'm writing to you because I have become such a huge fan of tanzanite, and I can't think of anyone else but you to create a ring like yours, being that ruby ring, for me. If there is a way possible to get in touch with you to go over details, let me know. Jan has gold if that helps in the cost of the ring. My email is above. Jan says hi to the Gem family. Hello, everybody, as he puts it in quotes. We're looking forward to hearing back from you soon. Good health and best wishes to all. Dennis. Well, good to hear from you, Dennis. And the thing about on creating any kind of work, if I was to do anything like that, is the fact that I just, time-wise, am very limited. And the other would be that you'd have to source the stone through gem shopping or myself. So you don't state whether you would want a cabochon or a faceted tanzanite, and that could be a difference. And only in the fact that as a guy wearing a tanzanite ring, you are going to have issues with scratching it over time. It's just going to happen no matter what you do, especially as a guy. As a cabochon ring, like in that ruby piece, even though the ruby over all those years never needed, and I wore it almost every day, never got scratched up or needed polishing, just as that incredible museum quality star sapphire, that large stone that was a inheritance piece that Raven wears, and maybe I'll re-show that ring again at some point, an incredible star. Over all the years, doesn't need repolishing, even though if you do, it's only the top dome of the cabochon, and it's very easy to access that without removing the stone. That's in a cabochon because you have that high dome, and because you don't have individual facets that you have to find, you can leave the stone in the ring in almost 95% of the cases, unless it's just a really flat low dome. But and polish it in the ring. If it's faceted and you get those scratches on the edges of the facets in many places, then you really can't polish it while it's in the ring in most cases. And if you bezel set that stone, you can't take it out. So you have those issues, maintenance issues, I call them often, with wearing a stone like that. And so that is information aside from whoever would create it for you, if I can't, that you just need to know about tanzanite. So since you didn't mention whether you wanted a faceted stone or a cabochon stone, I am just addressing both those issues. For maintenance down the road, a cabochon tanzanite, how cool that would be. It'd be different and unusual, but you will end up abrading it, scratching it, and potentially splitting it. It can, through a good whack as a cabochon ring, cause it to break. So, you have a hardness of 6 type of stone. It's also very susceptible to temperature changes, and I'm talking about even from, having your hands in water coming out of the spigot at 130 degrees and going to rinse your hands, let's say in cold water at 70 degrees, that kind of quick temperature change can cause it to create a crack in the stone. And I have seen it done by jewelers with a steamer multiple times, and it has cost quite a bit of money in replacing the stone for the client when they say, oh, let me just go steam your ring or clean your ring for you, when they're used to doing it for diamonds and corundum. It's fine. You get to temperature sensitive stones like tanzanite, and they can take heat treating, remember, because I've heat treated a lot of tanzanites, but that is a gradual inclination to the temperature and a gradual one back down. What they can't take is a quick temperature change like diamond. I can take a diamond from almost, glowing red hot and put it into the pickle pot at 150 degrees and be no effect to it. And that's the only thing you can do that much of a temperature change. Other ones, they can take the temperature, but they can't take a quick temperature change. So, like aquamarine, I have actually slowly brought the temperature of an aqua and tipped the prong on an aqua. Do not ever do that at home. But it was one of those cases that I just had to. I couldn't take it out, and it was successful. But remember, aquamarines go underneath a heat treatment process, which I've done to a lot of aquas, so I kind of knew what temperature it could take. So I had some background knowledge on that. So anyway, I just want to let you know that information. If you go with tanzanite in a ring, you can see what I chose, the hardest stone next to diamond. And over all, I made the ring in 1999. So over all those years, wearing it all the time, and the previous person I had made it for, not an issue with a single scratch that needed to be repolished. That would not be the case when you're talking about a hardness of 6. So start off with those thoughts and think about it, and you can let me know if it was faceted or cabochon you were thinking of, and I'll kind of advise you from there. Miss Gabby says, howdy, gang. Just a quick note. I am one happy rock hound. I got the Manganoan calcite. Beautiful and double-sided, and the etched aqua to go with the morganite. Tell Raven I will take good care of that specimen, and if she ever needs it back, just reach out. Trivia answers, asbestos and hydrothermal solution. Love and best to you all, Miss Gabby. Wow. So if any of you missed last week's presentation, make sure you go back to it and look in on the largest item displayed, which was just a museum quality, incredible Manganoan calcite with pyrite and quartz and all kinds of goodies, and sphalerite, double-sided. I mean, I looked at it for hours, and you can look at it for hours, many, many hours beyond that. And that's not even getting in the closet and looking at the fluorescence. This what a great piece. And the etched, and that's why the conversation about the etching, the etched aqua was the only one I'd ever had. And Miss Gabby has that amazing etched morganite from that rare location, the Erdekom mine, that had that tourmaline growing, that green tourmaline growing in a previously etched out position where a larger tourmaline was. So just an amazing piece how it all happened geologically. And to have that aqua to go with it, what a great collection of etched items. So good choice. Good choice there, Miss Gabby. Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. You had a good hair day today, Sean. Just saying. Thank you so much for the trivia prize of Russian heliodor, a wonderful new mineral for my collection of treasures. Asbestos and thermal solutions. Hope that those who are eligible go out to vote. Very important to me. Sent my ballot 2 weeks ago. Till next week, everyone. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Faye from the show, number 259, the chocolate Macesso opal that was in the shape of the butterfly after I sawed it. Very cool. Mr. Anthony, another wonderful show. Scored the demantoid garnet parcel. You know, I had you in mind for that one, just as I had the etched aqua in mind in case for Miss Gabby, because I knew she had the morganite one. And I knew it would make a great display of the two pieces. The little Russian demantoids are amazing, and, well, let me go on. He says, horsetail inclusion in a demantoid garnet is asbestos. Hydrothermal solution can move through and forming a crystal etching in it. The mini microscope you were demonstrating is in a big name store for a 2-pack, very reasonable. The store is, it's one of the office supply stores, we'll just put it that way, that begins with an S. So, but if it's in one, you can probably find it in the other. Now, I didn't even know that, and they're not very expensive. Remember this gizmo I showed last week that, you know, has the light and the 60 to 100 adjustable magnification and the focal part here, and you put it right down on the item. And we were playing with a Crabtree Mine emerald crystal slice before the show, and Raven and I were, and it was just stunning to put this over the top of the slab and even go through the focal distances through the little slice and see, well, it just looked like I was looking at through my GIA, you know, $2,500 microscope. Of course, I didn't pay that. You know me, I'm going to buy things in the secondary market. And now I have like 3 microscopes, and I don't know, I may actually bring in some of that stuff and sell it. It would be so much less expensive for you, and you know, it'd be something I know a lot of you could use. So that's great to know, Anthony, because these things are amazing, and they're great if it's a 2-pack to get them and give one to someone else as a gift, and they'll think that you've given them a really big prize, and they're not expensive, but they are very functional. So now, he goes on to say, I have a USB microscope that goes from 40 power to 1,000 power. Now this goes from 60 to 120. Now remember, a jeweler's loupe is 10x, or 10 times magnification of the item. So this, 60 to 120 versus 10. Now, the USB microscope, 40 to 1,000, puts the image on the screen. I haven't used it in a while. You got me all worked up with imaging now. I'm gonna dig it out. I think you told us about the USB microscope a while back, and I went and got one. Very inexpensive, well worth it. I forgot how useful it is. Mr. Anthony, I am so glad you brought this subject up, because that USB microscope, you have no idea, it is extremely functional, and I got it in a hobby store. Mine in a hobby store. I just happened to see it. I'm sure you can just order them online, and I mean, they're less than $50, and they work very well. They have different lights on them that you can just either the white light, or they have other lights. Let's say if you want to affect the background, like if you're shooting an opal or something like that. And the magnification and focal part works wonderfully. And so you do it, and you get to see it on your screen at the time, and then you just hit a button and it takes the picture. That's how I have gotten some of the incredible pictures that I have over the years of inclusions in different gemstones that I've included with the gemstone and selling them. And that USB microscope is some of the best money for the little amount you spend versus the return that you get. I highly recommend it. They're a lot of fun. So I usually will take the microscope just to help let you know quickly how to, and if you have one of these trays, put the stone in the tray, and then I just set it down on there and move it until where it's in focus. And then I take my other side flashlights, if I need additional light, and bring them in from the side. And can create and get in on exactly the shot. So you can zoom in on an inclusion that you can't even see with a 10 power loupe with a USB, looking at it on the screen. And you know, you'd think you're using a piece of equipment that would cost a couple $1,000s. Well worth it, and a lot of fun. So yeah, Mr. Anthony, you go get yours out, and it makes me want to go get mine back out as well. And just, the problem is I can kill all kinds of time and take all kinds of pictures once I do it. So, okay, so good comment and good advice. Miss Elisa in Florida. Hello, Professor Sean, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. I wanted to say thank you to all the veterans and their family members who have served our country and defended our freedoms. Freedom is not free. Thank you for your sacrifice. Miss Ursula's last comment was about her granddaughter, Megan, talking about her writing skills, and I wanted to wish her all the best. Thank you, Miss Ursula, for mentioning James Redfield's book. Truly, everything does happen for a reason. I hope you are doing well, and hope to hear your eloquently written comments again soon. I know, we do miss Miss Ursula, and I just wish I could tune in on the well-being of some of these people that we haven't heard from in a while. I do know that when we switched over to being on YouTube, that it seemed that some people, as far as the comments and the relocation of them on the site, it's taken them a little time to get back to the routine that we had. So I know we've lost a couple people just through that may be still watching the show, but either way, if Miss Ursula, if you're listening, just send us a quick note. Tell us you're okay. We want to hear from you. And like Miss Elisa said, your very eloquently written answers to the trivia. Dave, my deepest sympathies to you and your family during this time of grief. I'll be praying for your family. Yep, as a matter of fact, Dave is going to be going to the funeral here coming up this week. My answers to this week's trivia are asbestos and hydrothermal solution. Since we are in November, I felt it was the right time to say that I'm so thankful for everyone in our rock family. Stay safe and have a great week. Elisa. Very nice thought there, Miss Elisa, all the way around. Miss Barbara. Hi, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole rock family. Mindat, yes. Remember, it's mindat.org, where I have suggested several times you use for a information reference site. And Miss Barbara concurs. Please support them painlessly as Hudson Mineralogy via Amazon Smile 5% charity contributions based on your purchases. What a phenomenal resource Jolynn Ralph is continuing to build. Be warned that if you use Norton Virtual Privacy Network, Mindat may not allow you access until you turn the VPN off, whatever that is. A glitch I've alerted them to. Being from the city, drive-ins weren't part of my past, but tossing you into the trunk to conserve cash for snacks was both hilarious and brilliant. Oh yeah, hilarious. I laughed the whole time I was in the trunk because I was the younger brother, as I told the story last week. And the money that I got for the movies and snacks, I had to forfeit. And Mom didn't know anything about this. She personally gave it to me. But they literally shook me down for the money, my older brothers, if I wanted to go out with them. Out with them and their friends, which was, of course, fun as the younger kid. You want to do that. And so, yeah, what are you going to do? Say, no, I'm not, going to give you my money, and then they just take it anyway? Yeah. So then they would save that money by putting me in the trunk of the car, which, by the way, trunks back in the 70s, you could put 3 dead bodies in. I mean, they were large, and so they had that going for it. But they also didn't have the trunk release that was put into cars later on as a safety device. So once you were in the trunk, you were in the trunk. So you didn't complain and you were quiet, and so that they would release you. So anyway, they take my money, put me in the trunk, save the money so that they could then spend it on snacks for them, because after all, I didn't have to spend my money to get in the movie, right? If I was lucky, they'd let me have something to drink and a few chips. But looking back, of course, it was great memories, and getting to go and running with the older guys, that, of course, is something a younger guy always wants to do. I was a rock nerd, but I did get out once in a while. I wonder if Acrorite is really so rare. Now, look at how, boy, that was, we really transitioned there, right? After all, if you have watermelon tourmaline, the white of the rind is Acrorite, right? Yep, it is, technically. And the thing about it is, though, if you think about Acrorite as a gem that you see in the market, now Acrorite, remember we're talking about, is the purest form of tourmaline, since tourmaline is a allochromatic gem. In other words, its colors is derived from extraneous impurities in so many different ways, and it's a very complicated mineral chemically anyway. So if you think of Acrorite as how much Acrorite do you ever see being Acrorite being the clear white variety of tourmaline, So how much do you see in the market as far as faceted stones or just all crystal? Sometimes you get the pink and white bicolor crystals. I used to have a lot of those and sold them. But for clear gems, faceted or other or crystals, clusters of just clear tourmaline, you just do not see that. So in relative to other tourmalines, the clear, pure variety of it is, in my opinion, and from what I have seen over the many years, quite unusual and quite rare relative to other tourmaline. Except maybe for Barbara for that little white little rind in watermelon tourmaline. That, by the way, is what allows it to be called watermelon tourmaline. Don't be fooled by bicolor tourmaline slices that is just the green and the pink. Those I see sold as watermelon all the time. But in my book, and I think any other real purist and true gemologist, it is not watermelon unless it is just like a slice of watermelon, which is green on the outside. Then you have the white rind portion right inside the green rind. Then you have the pink fruit that you eat. And all of us try not to eat the white part because of the lack of flavor. So, watermelon tourmaline, 3 colors, and white in between the green and the pink. Anthony, try the Convoy S2, which gives a powerful 365 nm long wave ultraviolet for your viewing enjoyment in a pen light size. That's always a good suggestion right there. Cindy, congrats on the Ukrainian Heliodors. So nice and clean without exsolution, exterior pitting. Enjoy. I like that. Ukrainian. We don't want to mention Russian, do we? As to the trivia, demantoid horsetail is chrysotile or bisolite, depending on whom you ask, and the pitting in crystals are made from hot hydrothermal solutions. In proximity to fluorites, I wonder how much damage natural hydrofluoric does. Is indeed the answer I give on that, because I'm not going to find out exactly what extremely dangerous hydrofluoric acid would do to another fluorine mineral. Fall marches on and another hurricane threatens the East Coast with more flooding. Be safe all. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn, New York. Now, then, so remember her answer was chrysotile or bisolite. Then she says, reconsidering the wording of your first question, I revised my answer to asbestos. Bisolite and chrysotile are derived from asbestos, which is itself fibrous serpentine. I'll stand pat on answer number 2 of hot hydrothermal solution. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Well, there you go, Miss Barbara. You then now get the answers right, because if everybody remembers exactly how I worded the question, in a Russian demantoid garnet, what mineral is the horsetail inclusion formed from? Not what mineral is it, but what mineral is it formed from? Now, luckily, of course, I gave the answer asbestos in, and everyone picked up on that and got the answer that I was correct, that I was looking for. Miss Barbara actually clarified a point that is true. And if you remember from quite some time ago, when I covered this subject before, I actually went into the fact that, to get technical, the actual horsetail inclusion is of a mineral that is related and derived from asbestos. So asbestos is the technically the correct answer, because I have the inclusion formed from, which is from asbestos. And I'm going to show you when we go back and have the camera on the mineral shot, my piece of asbestos that'll help you help explain it so much better when you actually see how the actual mineral asbestos in its mineral form before it's processed. And it's amazing because it's a mineral, one of the very few ones that can be made into twine, into all kinds of products, can be woven. And isn't that unusual, because you think of a mineral as rock and not being flexible. But my piece explains that and also helps you understand how it could be a horsetail. Now, yeah, the serpentine group is a real unusual group. I've covered it before with going into what makes up greenstone in New Zealand. Isn't always jade. It's oftentimes beautiful, beautiful quality of serpentine. Lizardite is a very common variety. We haven't even talked about that one, and there's a whole other family. And I even mined some chrysotile serpentine at the mine up in Chunky Gal. There's the old ruby mine that I've talked about, and showed you those specimens from there. So yeah, that's a whole big family, and so derived from answer being asbestos. Okay, so this week we drew, because so many people got the answer right, and the winner is Miss Elisa. Miss Elisa, who is in Florida now, and we will show her what she won in just a moment. And there it is. Look at that. That is, again, the magic of the show. The fact that Miss Elisa used to be in North Carolina, she moved to Florida, and so did her luck on her winning. This is a very rare now Tampa Bay, Florida agatized coral piece. And so this has been sawn in half. It is from the Ballast Point area in Tampa Bay, which is closed and has been closed to digging for quite some time. You can't even tell that was ever a place that you would have dug coral. And when I worked in the rock shop in Sarasota, down the way from there, we got in huge bags of it. So this would have been in 1974 or 73. So that's when they were actively mining it, and we'd get in these burlap bags of this material, and it was so sharp. That's how you really can tell, especially from the outside, is how sharp the corners and edges are compared to the Withlacoochee agatized coral. And this one has, look at this, a couple really neat clam borer holes, and there's another one, and you can see the very rare white chalcedony coating that you see on top of the quartz and the neat little borer hole there. Little would you ever think walking over that on the beach sand that there would be anything of value or cool factor to the inside, and yet there is. So you being a Florida girl now, Miss Elisa, this goes perfect for a trivia prize for you, and something that nobody can get anymore, and from my personal collection. Congratulations. All right, I'm going to put this away. We'll be right back with the start of the show. All right, not only have you never seen this specimen before, but you have also never seen one of the phone numbers up there. Important information. Okay, the phone numbers. That's what we're going to cover first. The top number, that's the one you've been used to seeing and will be good up until Wednesday. But after Wednesday, make sure you make note. The bottom number where it says gemshopping.com, that's the number you want to store in your phone. Not only your portable phone, but your home phone, cell phone, and anywhere else you keep your important numbers, change them to the 888-791-5933. But up until Wednesday, so from when this show airs on Monday to Wednesday, the top number is the number that you'll have to use. The change will happen on Wednesday, and so if you make the mistake, you'll be directed to the new number. But just so you don't slow you down in making those one-of-a-kind purchases from this show, make sure you have that new number ready to go. So I'll try to mention that a couple other times during this show if you happen to step out. But what we have now, look at this. You know I love pyrite. You've seen it in so many other specimens I've shown before. Well, this is from the well-known Wanzala mine. And of course, known for producing some amazing pyrites. But look at this. Look at this. I love it when another mineral is incorporated with an ore mineral, such as pyrite. You have those stunning quartz crystals. Look at those. And so all the way around, something extra. You also, on this one, have some of the octahedrons, the cubes, with these truncated corners. That's desirable. You got the beautiful striations along the side, and the way this specimen is, with just that nice large one perched right on top, it sits aesthetically beautiful, because to me that's the frame of it, that you want that nice quartz cluster in the front. No stand needed. The angle is perfect with the large grouping of crystals at the top. Aesthetically, only Mother Nature can do something so wonderful like that. So, if you have a plain pyrite piece, I mean, some can sell for dollars, but start adding in extra goodies like the quartz crystals, and from a known desirable locality as a Wanzala mine, increases the value to it. So the octahedral modifications and the growth helix on the cube faces are some of the things that you want to look for when you're talking about Peruvian specimens. Let me get a pointer here. And just to point out what I'm referring to, the growth helix. This is something that a lot of people may not even notice, but once you start noticing it, look at that. It looks like the stair steps up the Teotihuacan pyramid that I've been to and climbed to the top of. It's north of Mexico City, and of course was the center of the Teotihuacan empire, which really grew to they're the ones that ended up controlling the green obsidian. I just say that because there were a lot of steps up that, and it's a really a large pyramid. If you've never been there, maybe sometime you'll get a chance, because for the Western Hemisphere, that's the big one. All right, look at these beautiful hillocks is what they're talking about going down. See that? Look at that angle. That is something that you do not often see in pyrite. And then the other notation for the unusualness and to help identify the mine actually is, see these corners, these modified, what they call the modified octahedrons, and that's what that is referring to. But these growth helix and those, yep, that's what you want to see. So extra goodies involved there. Price on this, only $48. Only $48 on that. All right, next. This is 1011521. And now, let me get all my electronics going here myself. And so that was that one, and can't forget to do all that. Okay, now, only have 3 of these left. I haven't shown them in a while, but it's time. It's time. So let me just replace those here and that there, and let me put this down here. Okay, let me show you what we got going here. And last 3. Look, and talk about small. These are those treated South African diamond crystal parcels. There's 65 to 70 stones in each one, so you can see these. And I put these together, and I had never seen this before. I think I was more excited about these than any of you have been. I've had 6 to start with. I have 3 now, and I've marked them down to what really is a ridiculous price for what they are, because I've never seen them before. These are the actual crystals as mine, and they treated them. Let's put a price up of a discount price of only, oh, why not? $18 each. Now, let me see if Dave can shoot through here just kind of coarsely to give you a rough idea, a very rough idea. Okay, so what you have in these, look at that as I hold these as steady as I can. You have the really cool octahedrons. There we go, making my job much easier as long as, there we go. Look at this. Okay, so you have look at that. Look at that greenish blue one right there, so we know exactly what we're talking about. And you see how it is the bipyramidal or the octahedron, so 2 pyramids base to base. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the actual crystals here. Look at the blue one right to the left of it. And that is what I found so amazing. If I had that microscope, and if we could ever photograph through something like it, you could really see these crystals. So at home, get one of those microscopes and look at something like this. Look at that right in the middle of the screen, that really light blue crystal. Look at the clarity to it. Now, granted, we're looking at through a 10-power loop, and so they look bigger than they are, but it gives you an idea to have the actual, look at the one on the far right. See that? That is an incredible, beautiful shape, and the clarity. Think if you actually found a natural color blue diamond with the octahedron shape. They found them. They found blue diamonds, not very big, but certainly bigger than these, but yet of natural color as well. And so, we just help Mother Nature out a little bit. But look at that greenish blue one right there in the middle. So look at that one on the far right. See, I can get so excited about these now. I take this away, and that's what we have. But that's the fun of it. That's the fun. All size, large. Large mineral specimens, small crystals like this, and something like this. Again, no one else is going to have little blue crystal diamonds. So for the price of $18 a parcel, those are the last 3 I have. I think for that kind of money, well worth it. All right, let's come back to my Made in the USA collection. For those dropping in, over 50 years of collecting since the age of 11, I ended up focusing really towards the end of my teenage years and realized I wanted to focus on a couple different collections. One of them, of course, was because I was born on my father's birthday, so we were both January babies, and the Garnet family being 6 different members, quite large, and since I'm a purist, there is no known, well-known, synthetics of any of the Garnet members that they have had any success trying to replicate. So it was perfect as a collection subject. So I focused on garnet crystals, garnet everything over all the 50 years. So you'll see those. And then the other was, of course, made in the good old USA. In other words, mineral specimens from the United States. So those are 2 of the kind of items. Of course, you'll see everything else that 50 years brings you. But kind of those 2 I kind of focused on. So this is one of the Made in the USA, 1039821. I would have never thought, after seeing all the Indian, all the Mumbai specimens of prehnite, all the prehnites from Mali, Africa, and whatnot, that there would be prehnites, which is often associated with basalt, which is also always associated with volcanic activity. I wouldn't think that I would find prehnite so much in the United States. Now remember, prehnite is not a zeolite, but is often found with zeolites. Prehnite is also a semi-precious gem. Just to show you, I don't know if we'll get around to showing this item again during the show, but just to show you, here is, look at this, okay? Look at how perfect the match is. I guess we'll probably end up showing it maybe, of the prehnite. And it's always a soft color, kind of like rose quartz. It's never a perfect clarity. So you can see where they get the color from. Now, this is beautiful because you have not only the prehnite, But look it down inside of this. Here is a wonderful crystal. Now, I would think if this was coming from India, I would say, oh, that's apophyllite, because it certainly looks it, doesn't it? Mirror apophyllite. No, the true test is testing it. And in that case, this is calcite, which I think is even cooler. Calcite. Look at those perfect cubes of calcite tucked away in there. How neat is that? I think that's just really great looking stuff. Then look at on the surface of them. I know you're probably thinking, okay, Sean, are you going to address there's something on them or you didn't clean them very well? I know. Well, for one thing, Hartford County, this is the additional information that I'm reading that I have. Okay, so I even tell you the county, but there's multiple different, believe it or not, in between New Jersey and Connecticut, quarries. So there's more than one location that prehnite can be found, which is kind of neat. Now, how I could tell that this was calcite was the fluorescence. Fluorescent orange, and that is often a giveaway if you're determining calcite between calcite and apophyllite. So, but those inclusions on the surface, they are chalcopyrite. Chalcopyrite, often, believe it or not, associated with these minerals for some reason. Not sure always why. And then look at this, yellow. Isn't that cool? That is, and look at that little botryoidal formation. So yellow prehnite. You have both colors. Now, we've seen those two colors together. We've seen it in the moly prehnites. To see it in this prehnite is quite the specimen to actually have those two colors. Look at the botryoidal formations of the prehnite there. And then you have some more chalcopyrites on there. Here's your basalt, giving away, of course, its volcanic origins. What a neat specimen. And at a huge sale opportunity. Oh yeah, I've showed it before, so guess what? How would you like this? And this is it, $24. $24. Crazy opportunity on that indeed. Now, let me tuck that away. Okay, next. Oh, this is one of what we call the Pakistani 4, 1025921. As coined by Miss Barbara, that was the 4 minerals that I actually focused and got the entire lot that the miner had produced of that quality of from the 4 different places. The incredible pink apatites, the sphene, the triplite, and the red zircons. I always have kind of trouble of remembering sometimes myself. And I highly recommend you get those from me. One of each of them as you see them come up if you don't have them. You will never get a better or less expensive opportunity on getting something so unique and unusual. Look at this. Look at this, sphene crystals, something you just don't see. So you have also the clinochlor, which we talked about the other week, which is, of course, a type of chlorite. And then you have calcites, which are right here and here. Now, this would be one to take to the closet. As we come in closer, because oftentimes you'll have confusion with this material because of feldspars. You'll have feldspars that can look similar, but it looks almost, there could be a little bit of pink, a little bit of manganese. But anyway, a trip to the closet, fluorescence certainly probably will come up out of those. And as we look around at the rest of it, oftentimes you can find little sphenes with magnification. But look at that. Look at that beautiful, beautiful angle of that sphene crystal. Just a really nice yellow color to it. There's a couple of nice crystals. There's a little unusual color there, so worth additional investigation. And price opportunity on this, well, can't really tell from my worn tag. So that means I have to make sure it's less than it ever will be. And I know if I price this for only, oh, why not? How about a fun one? $24. $24. then I know it will be less than it has ever been. Now, let me see if I can scan that. No. See, that tag was so bad, I'll have to hand type that in, but we'll do that in a moment. Now, let me show you. Let's see if I have anything that goes with that same subject. No, but let's go to this. Here we have item 1081822. And now you're going to understand etching better when you see etched pieces now, since we have talked about it. And so, you know, if you have a pocket that's actively growing in a geologic area, it is common for another solution over time. And I'm talking about, you know, time being geologic time. 10,000 years, 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years really are very close to each other in geologic time. So a lot of things can happen in that amount of time, including other solutions, other gases, other vapors that invade the pocket that the original crystals were grown in, and thus etching away even, you know, think about this, even gases like acidic gases, like if I'm standing over hydrofluoric acid, the gases coming up from it are extremely, what's the word? Well, not only are they dangerous, but extremely reactive. In other words, the gases alone can eat and etch other minerals or create new minerals, depending on what the gas is, combined with the solid. So you have gas and solid that can combine to form completely new items. Okay, so on this item, this is a wonderful example of an aquamarine. This one from Orongo, Namibia, and it is etched. So this, if you have an etched mineral collection, which people do focus in on oddities like that, this would be a great one to add to it, especially if you have other etched aquas, Miss Gabby. And as we come in closer to this, you can see that not only did it etch the original aquamarine away, but there is additional secondary growth that has filled in some of that area. Now, I am quite interested in this because I don't think I investigated it close enough originally. So let me just look for a moment down along this, because what I look for is crystallization. Ah, there we go, Dave. And his magic camera gets compliments every week on his camera work. And so you can see, you can definitely see additional deposition of another mineral, or possibly kind of maybe just a goshenite. But look it down in that pocket. There you go. There, see the extensions of the white material growing away. So that is a giveaway that there has been additional mineralization deposited after the original etching of it. And that's always really cool. That's always really cool. So remember that morganite specimen that Miss Gabby has, the original tourmaline was etched out of its pocket where it was, and another tourmaline started to grow within it and had stopped, you know, before it had filled in the entire space. Such a cool specimen, and especially since it was actually in situ, in other words, in its original situation, because most of them, when they do that, they are loose, end up loose, and not so much attached. So if it ever does come loose, that is normally the way that those crystals end up. So it's a very loose molecular bond when they reestablish growth in the original pocket. So really, what I'm offering on this one is this side. Even though this side is really cool, it's a little bicolor up there as well. And look at how well shaped and almost symmetrical that hexagonal crystal is, with wonderful irises in the top. And so this one, and the size that it is and all the goodies going with it, is also sale priced, and at only discounted now to $78. To only $78 on that jewel. Jewel indeed. Okay, let me take a moment here, tuck away a few items, and I'll be right back. All right, this is another one of those, really great specimens. And look at this. Asif even has, read the bottom line of the description. At a secret mine. And that's the true story. All right. We're going to get into this in just a minute. I want to remind everybody, you see 2 phone numbers up on your screen. This is a good time since we're looking over in that corner where it says Secret Mine. Look right below it. That top number, the 791-08971, that one is only going to be good until Wednesday. On Wednesday, it's going to transition over to the bottom number, 888-791-5933, and the top number will not be able to be used. It will direct you to the other, but it will not transfer you automatically. You'll have to redial. Make sure you put that new phone number in all your devices, and realize if you happen to call that old number, what's going on. Then you'll remember this conversation and use that bottom number. All right, now let's get back to this stunning specimen. First thing I want to show you is really the minor part of it all. So when you look at this, you start seeing these little reflections. Look at these little reflections in all directions that you turn this. The little golden reflection of this, that's what I think is so neat, is extra goodies like that in a specimen. To me, add aesthetics to it, add uniqueness to it, and another mineral. So what you have there is pyrite, and how you tell that is looking at it closely for the cubic crystal system. In other words, the crystal system that forms squares or bipyramidal objects, things like that. All right, now look at these calcites. The calcites are unique as well, and the terminations on them, some of these almost have a pagoda look, but they're totally different. Calcite, I thought I read one time, had over 100 different habits. In other words, within the same crystal system, but the look of the crystal forms in just an innumerable number of different looks to it. All right, now as we go in closer on this, you'll be able to see some of the extra goodies. Look at this fluorite. You can see the fluorite having a phantom growth to it. In other words, multiple color zones from different periods of its growth, depending on the solution that allows it to grow at the time. And that's how you get other inclusions in it, in a mineral, is the crystal grows over it. A crystal, let's say, will grow on the surface like this, but then the fluorite keeps growing if it's in the right environment and grows over it, and then you have a pyrite inclusion in it. And that's, but look at the surface. Look at the surface of these calcites. This is what makes this specimen, look at that. That almost looks like a cactus. Really unique. Look at that. Look at that. That is a very cool formation. And then look at the termination to it. Almost a little bit of pink there. Look it down there. That is beautiful camera work. Then the pyrites. The pyrites really add a look, and you can even see from there that they are, as I look over at the other TV screen, it's probably what most of you are looking at home, which is a big screen TV. What a difference it makes compared to the little monitored screen I was viewing. But that one's to the right. I'm left-handed. My head always just wants to turn to the left, but boy, that sure looks good on a big screen TV. It really zooms in on it as if you're looking at home with an Optivisor on. So very cool. Look at that. You can see where some of the pyrites are partially embedded in the fluorite. That's a specimen like this. Yes, it's more expensive, I'm going to discount it as low as I can go, but there's so much more to look at it. There's fluorite there. It's one that you can just twist and turn around. And remember, this is a real closet taker. Not only do you have the calcite that could fluoresce, which most calcites do, actually, I see here in my notes, orange fluorescence. Yeah, I took it to the closet for sure. Now, fluorite, of course, gets its name from the fact of its desire to be a very common fluorescent mineral. Look at this. Look at this one right here. I love this particular crystal. You at first would think that that's like an inclusion going across it. No, that is just where it is a bicolor crystal. You have a greenish cap too over the top of the purple. Look at that, and then look at, what is that plane going through there? Interesting. Look at the cubic pyrites on top. Then, okay, look at this. Okay, this is the amazing thing about crystallography. So you have these flat, shiny sides, 3 of them. Then in between them, you have this kind of stepped growth in 3 different areas as well. So when you look at that crystal and look at it the way a crystallographer would, it takes on a whole new meaning, because in the same crystal you have 2 complete different ways of forming. And I just love stuff like that. I actually, not only did I want to be a mineralogist, I wanted to be Paul Desautels at the time when I was growing up in the 70s. He was the curator of the Smithsonian Gem and Mineral Wing. And that he was like an idol at the time. And then I thought, well, I want to be a crystallographer. And that is like one of the hardest sciences to be. Crystallography is really, really technical when you get to the real high-end stage of learning in that. But I just plowed ahead with the old hobby end of it, and here I am. So, lots of goodies. Here we go. I'm going to make it the lowest I can possibly make it. And if you waited a few weeks to get it and to see if it would come down, well, I'll make it, oh, let me see if I can do that. $228. $228. Oh, here's another notation I have. I thought so when I was looking down. Because I notated it, make sure in the light that it was, and then the fluorescence also helped give it away. These are Manganoan calcite crystals. As I look at them now, I can see the pink, and when we looked at this from above, you can see the pink going through the crystal. So, yeah, and even in the light pink, Manganoan calcite often has a 50-50 division of the element. In other words, 50% calcium, 50% manganese. So, and then CO3 for the rest of the formula. But so it takes a good bit of manganese to create. Now, some of the Manganoan calcites, the calcite is just a really, really darker, bright pink. But most Manganoan calcite is a very light pink, and you can see it in these crystals. So you have bicolor fluorite, Manganoan calcite, beautiful, beautiful shiny pyrites that really show off the piece, and phantom fluorites. Lots to have fun with. And let me do one more thing here. Let me just show you some backlighting, because look at that. That's how you discover, oh, Dave, right on, other items you would never see. Look at the crystal down inside that fluorite. Look at that. That is a cube. Now, I had no idea that was there. This is what playing with your rock collection will bring you. And, you know, people joke at me when I say, well, I'm going to play with my rocks, you know, and they'll laugh or say, you know, make comments or whatever. But that's literally what I do. That's the fun. That's the discovery. Discovering that crystal right now before all of you down in there. What fun is that? I mean, that's to a rock hound is, man, that's bragging rights right there. That's showing off. That is like, whoa, way cool. Look at that. Look at that. That is absolutely, if it was quartz, it'd be manifestation quartz. But that is a crystal. Well, it could be fluorite or it could be calcite, but one that has, you know, if you actually, fluorescence might be able to tell. Wouldn't that be neat to get a purple fluorescence from the fluorite and deep in the fluorite get a red fluorescence, which would, well, red and purple, it would stand out. And then you would know, if you got a different color fluorescence from that, that you had calcite inside of there. But that's part of what you do with mineral specimens when you're a rock hound. You get them out and you enjoy them through the science side. Look at that. You can see the light pink color. You can certainly see the light pink color to that calcite. And I'm coming over here I wanted to see that phantom. Wow, it's kind of neat exploring with a flashlight. It's kind of like a little kid under the covers. You can see so many other additional oddities when you backlight specimens that are translucent like this. You can really see and discover, like we just did. There it is. That's the one I was looking for. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Look at that. Now, I first thought that was a phantom. Yeah, I think it still is, but after seeing, of course, that other encased crystal, you never know what you might find. All right, I'll leave the rest of the exploration. This is one that is certainly worthy of a really nice place in your, yeah, look at the pink. You know, you also, if I was using fluorescent light like that, okay, if I was using a UV light and it tends to charge the particles, we won't get into too much of the science side to that, but, and then when you take away the light and you're still in the closet, do that. Don't just take away and walk away. Do that and still stay looking at the specimen, because remember, you can get a glow, you know, it can be triboluminescent, it can be phosphorescent. You can get a continuing glow effect to some minerals, and that's another whole property in themselves and extra special. Okay, this is the box that this came in. Look at this. A fluorite mine, but the exact location is secret. Now, what happens is a lot of different mines, the specimen is discernible where it came from depending on the other minerals that are found with it. Now, what can occur is when miners know that the mineral specimens trade and go for more money than if they crush them up for the fluorine and the calcium or whatever they're mining for when they hit these pockets. So they will lunchbox them and, you know, put them in their clothes wherever they can and sneak them out to get the few extra bucks or whatever they might get for the specimen. So sometimes locations, so they're not broadcast and get back to the mine owners, they won't disclose it. They'll just say a particular province or whatnot, and oftentimes there's multiple mines in that area, so it gets confusing as to exactly who's doing what. But that's why that often is an issue, is the secrecy of minerals that are, what's the word, snuck out, sneaked, that are lunchboxed out. Let's just put it that way. Let's look at item 1082522, and I'm getting ready to show you a jewel that came right out of my corner collection cabinet, my triangle-shaped one. So another one of my custom cabinets I totally tricked out with lighting and had the custom glass made and everything. And it did not cost much to do it. And I tell you what, if I could probably do that for a living and probably wouldn't make much, but I know I'd sell every cabinet I ever made because I would know how I would want to make it and how fun that would be. I like working with wood, and I like displaying mineral specimens in a very in the way they're meant to be, in a way that shows them off for the beauty that they are. Now, so let me show you something that this came from a collection, special collection. Yep, look at that jewel. This right from Asif's mother country, where he was born, Pakistan. If y'all didn't, if I hadn't mentioned it before, so I think he came here when he was 5 years old, and so it's kind of neat to have someone from a place that some of the finest mineral specimens in the world for the last decade have come from Pakistan. Now, right now, not so much. Things are not available like they were, and so it was a good time for me to get in on the items I did when I did. This piece is really remarkable. This is one of those ones, what's that fancy word that I think Barbara mentioned that, anyway, it looks, like it could be different little creatures from a inanimate object. Look at this, bicolor brucite. Now, brucite, yeah, this is, you can see, even notated, showing rare collection. To have the white areas like that, unbroken. Now, brucite does form in a crystal system, but it's kind of like prehnite in a way, and sometimes. Look at the surface of this. The surface of this, it has a very waxy feel to it, and you can see this, I don't know, it's hard to describe. You see it, that's what it is. But when you come in from the side, it's kind of more radial. Like if you split a prehnite crystal in half, or wave a light in half, that's the look you get. This is also the quality that you have seen me offer faceted brucites, which I don't think I have anymore. Maybe one or two. Those of you that got in on the faceted brucites did well. The quality of material is just not available. Now it is in this piece would facet the best quality of brucite that is in the market that they used when you can find them. Faceting, look at the hardness, 2.5 to 3. So a very difficult trick. Now this has no matrix on it, a couple little spots there. It is really rare, and to have no matrix tucked up in these areas, that's really rare, to find them not broken. Look at the size of that. This is one of the nicest, completely all brucite specimens I've ever seen. Until they found that pocket in Kila Sofila, I'm gonna just pronounce it kind of like that, probably all wrong. It's a magnesium hydroxide. So until then, brucite was found as a grayish, opaque blue material and used for industrial purposes. This was the first time they found gem quality. This will sit and display in so many different angles. Look at that. That's 3. Here, look at that. That's my snake or dinosaur one. Look at that. Looks like, I kind of like that one. So we'll leave it there for a moment. 77 carats. Oh yeah, that's cool. Look at the clarity. Look at the clarity. Hold on. I just get so excited about these things. Oh man, look at that lemon yellow. Dave, do the magic. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, and look how the light transfers through the entire piece. It just shows you just how translucent it actually is. What an item. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's really a fine piece. Well, that's why I've had it personally. All right, price on this, you're not going to believe it. It's not going to get any less than this. I don't care how many weeks I have. Actually, this would be one of those that show it once and take it back home if it doesn't sell. 77 carats, $77. That is it's not really sold by the carat. but I just did it that way so you could translate it in your mind to just how inexpensive that price is versus how beautiful the item is. All right, next item we have, this is something you haven't seen, 1082922. And this I had a lot to do with. I have shown you, I think, before some of the rough to this material, but this is what happens when you take the rough and you tumble it. And you look at this material. And this, wow. I'm looking on Dave's big screen TV. That's stunning. Look at the quality. This is Tanzanian Hessonite, belonging to the Grossular family, and they're 11 stones. I tumbled them from the rough. Okay, so there's 20 carats, 11 stones. So on average, these are almost 2 carats a piece. And let me just show you, because as a cutter, that makes a big difference because it depends on how big of a stone you're going to wind up with. Look at how large these are. These are actually quite large. And look at the color to that. That is absolutely flawless for the most part. And that would cut a beautiful gem. These, look at that one. Look at the depth. They would cut some incredible quality stones, or leave them tumbled as they are, because look at the polish I got on the tumbling. I'm bragging about my tumbling. I have lots of tumblers. They're going most of the time. I actually sold tumblers on this show before. That's why I said I might be bringing some of my equipment in that's the simple kind of equipment, like refractometers, those kind of things. I have extras of, believe that. And I sold 4 brand new tumblers, brand new in the box, and they went as quick as I showed them. All right, so 20 carats of tumbled rough that you can easily facet or do whatever you want. Hessonite, that's a great stone. It's also a great reference stone for referencing refractive index, so you can check it against other known stones you have. Also, the old, oh yeah, it's never far away for me. Look at that. I just put my name on the line by telling you that it was Hessonite. And if it would have been something other than Hessonite with an iron component, we would have had some type of magnetic response. No magnetic response. And that's what you want to see for Grossular. All right, price on the entire lot, $28. Only $28. And an excellent value, needless to say, because if you cut one stone out of there, then you can certainly get all of your money back. Okay, now, let me show you item 1083122. And this is a really nice jewel. Let me show you. And named after someone very famous. Very famous. Okay, let me get all the goodies up here. And wow, look at that. Look at that cat's eye. And okay, so this is not your everyday cat's eye like you, like as if there is one, but look at that. Okay, and when you turn it like that with the eye opening and closing, doing exactly what a fine cat's eye does. This is sillimanite. Sillimanite is named after a Yale professor in geology, mineralogy, and is really well known in that circle. Look at this. This is a really rare stone, and this quality of sillimanite is a quality you don't often see. Let me see if I can grab this and hold it. Look at that. Look at that eye. That is such a well-distinguished eye. And the cut, there's no other, inclusions. This is a really, really, really clean, exciting piece. 4.63 carat, which is large for that material. And I am going to offer that one at, only $115. That's only $25 a carat. And if you're not familiar with sillimanite, well, do a little homework on it. If you want to add a really rare cat's eye to your collection, here it is. Now, believe it or not, there is faceted sillimanite of a yellowish type color, and it is not nearly as valuable or expensive as the cat's eyes. So, yeah, faceted sillimanite, you can get it less expensive. An incredible quality cat's eye like this, not so easy to get it inexpensively. Let me do one thing here. I was curious if there is a background color. Okay, no. So what you see is, okay, hold on, Dave. Yep, do that. All right, thank you, sir. So what you're seeing is the color that it is through and through, and that's good. It also would have shown you if there was any inclusions or anything major that would reflect off of it. What a gem. Oh, it also has a really good hardness to it, so you can make it into jewelry and have a really rare, that's what I was going to do. This was one I was going to make for a personal piece of jewelry, but I did not get that far. All right, let me take another moment here, tuck away some items, and we'll be right back. Okay, so in 1911, J.P. Morgan, one of our hobby, our rock and mineral enthusiasts' most famous fellow rockhound of, J.P. Morgan fame. And so he was such a big contributor to mineral collections and the, I hate to say hobby, because it was more than hobby at the time, scientific research, etc., and discovery, that Frederick Kunz, who was, of course, around the same time, when they named the type of spodumene kunzite, the pink spodumene kunzite, for the very famous gemologist, J.P. Morgan was, not insistent, but he certainly, the trade needed to come up with a mineral to name after him. So, kunzite, a lot of people aren't aware, some amazing kunzites were discovered out in California, along with morganites. So when the morganite, which is the pink or peach variety of beryl, came along, boom, they had their name to keep J.P. Morgan happy. And kind of interesting that it both occurred close to the same time frames. This particular specimen is from the Ouracum mine, or however you would pronounce that in Portuguese, but from the same mine that I had showed the peach one last week. I had showed a few weeks before that both side by side and offered the two of them as a set. I'm not sure if the other one is sold yet because it's still in, so you could always check, but it's still in inventory. But this one, this is the natural pink color one. The other was peach, and when you had them side by side, it was easy to see the difference. Both of them coming from the same mine, and they came also from the same mine that Miss Gabby's did. Now, look at this. You look at the etching on this, but when you look into areas like right through there, not only actually do you see a little bit of a skeletal crystal face, but you can see a large area that, if you wanted to, would cut quite a large stone out of. I've looked into this particular piece, and through these little windows into this area, and in the world of gems, that's quite a big stone it would cut. So, you know, even if it cut a 15 or 20 carat, the amount of money that would be worth in a natural color morganite, it would be considerable. Now remember, the key, natural color. Lots of morganite they're doing things to that, you know, the purist in me doesn't like, and developing these very consistent colors that are so numerous, you know they have to, and usually they will be disclosed as being radiated, or it's getting to where you just accept the fact and assume they are unless you know they're not. Like getting a piece like this and then cutting the stone from it, you can be assured then that you're getting the natural color. So this is started out as a crystal, and who knows how many times it fought off its existence through hydrothermal solutions coming through and dissolving it away. And sometimes portions of it can regrow, and that's, you know, in a crystal called a healed or healing. A crystal wants to be whole, and other times it just can't put itself back together. But what's left are many other signs that there were crystal faces and that it was a crystalline piece. These are actually quite rare and quite collectible. The best ones, and like the only aqua ones mostly, are from that mine name that begins with an I that I can't pronounce last week and can't now, but where that aquamarine came from. The aquamarine doesn't come from the same place that the morganite comes from. The Urucum mine, where this came from, is the best known mine for producing etched morganite specimens. I mean, look at that. You can see down in there and see the area here. That will cut a crystal, a stone, and over here will cut a stone. I mean, in other words, if you wanted to, this could be seen as just cutting material. But I don't know. I think collectors would think differently. All right, so when you turn it like this and see all this on the same plane, on the same reflective plane, then you know something scientific and something intentional is going on there, a natural type of form. All right, so right down in there, I keep looking at it, and right down in there, I see multiple stones. There's 2 stones there, and 1 in there. Yeah, there's multiple stones. Anyway, that's the cutter in me. The collector in me would just leave it alone, as I have done. Price on this, all right, I am going to discount it, since that's usually what I do if I have to show it again. But this will be like the last opportunity, price-wise. Some people wait and kind of gamble on that little discount. Others miss out because of it. But I'm going to make this one only $168. That'll be the final opportunity on it. And boy, if you can even find these, that is such a well worth it price to even make it less than $1 a carat. And it is the pink side to the color. I mean, let me just try to show you how pink that is. Put it against a white background like that, and it helps. It helps a lot. Yeah, and in the world of morganite, pink, natural pink, that is quite desirable and quite pink for its for what that is. So let me make a note here, 168. I put it next to it, F for final price. Okay, now next. This is exciting. Item number 10453 5322. 104-5322. Now, what I'm getting ready to show you, I tell you what, it can give you the shivers sometimes because I don't know, the history, you just, I wish it could talk. Look at this. This is a Civil War musket ball bullet that was actually fired, and it was found in the northern states. And what they do, because of course I have a metal detector, and of course I would, right? It's severe penalties to metal detect any of the Civil War battlefields, as it should be, or monuments or any other historic areas. But there are homes, private property around those places that usually the people, or if you're really lucky, they'll let someone else, check their yard out. Old trees, which there are trees that go back to that date, they will metal detect the tree and dig them out of the bark, out of the tree. Remember, these are fired from black powder guns, which I have. I shot those type of weapons. I know all about how they're loaded and were used. And the round balls without a rifled barrel, they were not accurate. When everybody calls it the mini ball, but it was really Claude Minié, a French name, who came out with the conical bullet, with the open cutouts, the rings around the bullet, and the indented bottom of the bullet that was hollowed out a little, that caused expansion when it was fired, grabbing into the rifling of the barrel, causing it to spin. Once the bullet was able to spin, they realized how much more accurate and how much more further it went. And that is the other bullet used in the Civil War, which was so much more accurate. So the original musket ball, this goes back not only to the Civil War, but long before that as well. And you can see the surface of it. What happens is it's due to lead oxide. They call it lead rust. So that is the white. The white is PbO2, lead oxide. This is actually lead. You can actually feel the weight of it. The rest is sterling silver. Here's the bale, and of course the eagle. Couldn't be better than the eagle to carry that, but certainly representative of a difficult time in our history. But this is a neat way to display that. And I wish if that could talk, the gun that was fired from, the person, where it went, and whatnot. I don't know, I think about those things. So this incredible piece, Anna King, who is my best silver designer and maker, this is one of her pieces, and she has a particular person that goes out and specifically finds the Civil War items. I've offered and sold other ones over the years, including buttons. I still have some buttons if anybody is interested in Civil War buttons. That was another neat collectible item. This item, how about this? I have a really great opportunity, and it's quite a bit of silver. And even if you took the musket ball out and put something else in there, a gemstone, or just had its hands out, that would be cool. So you could separate it, break it down. How about this? Price, this is a deal. $68, only $68 on that. And again, it's from a northern state area. We have a lot of battlefields down here in the South, and they're very revered, and as they should be. And there's places that you can collect legally, but boy, I sure don't go anywhere near those places with my metal detector, even in the vehicle. They'll take your metal detector, your vehicle, everything, as they should if you are collecting illegally. So there is a great, neat, unusual piece, very large item, and at that price, it's worth it for the silver and what the musket ball would go for. All right, I said earlier, while I have you right there, I was going to show you, and oftentimes I say that during a show and I never get around to doing it, and then I feel bad afterwards. I remember I said, oh, I was going to show this and that, so I'm going to do it right now, kind of out of place in sequence. But let me show you. We were talking about asbestos, and we were in reference to the horsetail inclusions in demantoid garnet. Let me show you a real piece of asbestos, what asbestos is thought of and is in most cases, and why it was so popular and still is in a lot of uses. If we look at this, you can see, for one thing, look at the cat's eyes in it, but you can see look at this fibrous nature to it. Look at that. You would think that this is almost like cotton. So you could see how easily it would make what looks like a horsetail inclusion. Look at the fibrous nature. It is one of the rare few minerals that can be woven. And when they talk about asbestos, it actually covers a number of other minerals that are sold as asbestos commercially. In other words, like my trivia question said, what mineral did it form from? And asbestos is basically the mother mineral with a lot of other ones underneath it that come from asbestos, and it's different stages of mineralization. So look at that. Isn't that neat? When I got this, I said, wow, that's a really educational piece. And this is from North Carolina. I mean, I could take that edge of that and just peel it down. But you can also see why this kind of fibrous material is what could cause so many issues with fibrosis in the lungs from the asbestos, and but it's amazingly fire retardant. There are so many actually good properties that Mother Nature put into asbestos. I can see why it was used like it was in so many uses, of course, then later found to be so dangerous because of those properties. I mean, I can just flake that off. But you can see, look at it. It's a mineral that bends. Lots of horsetails right there. Okay, so neat, interesting piece. And look it, I have had it so long, it's in a Perky box. Look at that, North Carolina. And that was the information I had on it back. And I got that when I was a teenager. And still, it's not for sale. Let's look at item 1036821. 1036821. And that's why I like these guys, Dave and Asif, just listening to all the things I've said over the years. I mean, now they know more about asbestos than, any normal other person would. And, that's why their knowledge is extensive. There are so many other people that will come into work here at Gem Shopping, and even from the hosts to other, quote, knowledgeable people. And their knowledge, yes, they may have a knowledge, but it's a limited knowledge. Would they be able to tell you about asbestos? No, but Asif can now. Dave can now. And that's why I credit production and those that have done this for so many years with a lot of, well, put it this way. They have more knowledge than so many others. And they sit there silently holding all that knowledge in when they know so much more than often the other people that think they do. Anyway, I have a lot of respect for everything they've heard over all those years, and I do not ever discount what they know and hold in their heads. They've heard it all. Now, check this out. Look at these. You've seen me offer these before. Why do I still have them? 2 extremely well-matched Madagascan golden beryls. Now, you see the difference? I guess I should have put those up next to the Heliodor I had, the crystals that I gave away in trivia to Miss Cindy. And the difference in color, because both of those are still called golden beryl, but the true Heliodor was the color I gave away in those crystals. This is not a true color of Heliodor. This is golden beryl, but all of it seems to be called golden beryl anymore. Anyway, here is 2 really nice ones. I even have where they were cut and found from, and I don't know how I can make them less, but I'm going to make them less anyway. And how about those 2 stones? Anthony, how long would it take you to cut those 2 stones after you got the rough? Exactly. So my price, $11 for both. $11 for both. Take advantage of that. All right, now let me show you item 1044822. This. Now I had multiple parcels. This is the last one, so it's good to see that many of you took advantage of this deal I had. Let me take them out of the, look at this. This is the last parcel. 10 carats. 10 carats. Beautiful, beautiful. It's Thai ruby, 10 carats, 25 stones, faceted gem parcel. 1044822. And 10 carats of ruby, Thai ruby. Now, when I was in Thailand, you know, it's you can get any kind of ruby you want, because of course it's next to Burma, and most Burmese rubies anymore are smuggled out through Thailand or cut in Thailand. There is a big difference in color. You saw from my ruby ring just how red a Burma ruby can look. And now some of these Thai rubies have a more red color, but they're very distinguished from a purple secondary tone. And you see that almost to the point where these could be called purple sapphires. But they're not. They're not. In Asia, anything even slightly red, it's ruby. But look at that. I mean, so to sell a parcel of purple sapphires is a whole lot of difference in money compared to calling them rubies. This color ruby versus that color sapphire, the sapphire is worth a lot more. That color ruby versus a pink color sapphire, the pink sapphire is worth a lot more. This parcel, though, 10 carats altogether, is just worth a lot, no matter what they are. You can see a lot of these might need recutting if you're a cutter, but then others are just best left well enough alone. Just a really nice parcel, especially when I tell you the price. Look at that pear shape. There are some real jewels in here. All right. 10 carats, last parcel I have. Price, same price as the others, $38. Only $38, last one I have. You know what? I see it where I'd marked one down. Make it $34. $34. I see that was the bottom price I offered the others at, and I'll go with that. I can't believe it, though. $34. That's $3.40 a carat. Are you kidding me? If you go and try to get one of those stones at a normal jewelry store, the price you would pay, it would well exceed $100 or more. It'd be crazy what they would ask. All right, let me take a moment break here. Put those up. We'll be right back. There is much to be seen. Part of the Made in America collection from the world famous Reynolds County. And even to get a little bit more specific, the viburnum trend, which was a particular area of the mine that was well known and produced some amazing specimens. This specimen represents a lot of what is found in Reynolds County when you're talking about calcites. It is actually one of the finest representations of it. Let's look at, for several reasons, let's look at them. All right, first you have what is known as the scalenahedron calcite crystal, okay, or the dogtooth calcite. As you can see, look at that. That definitely looks like a canine dog's tooth. But look at on the surface. Look at the magic. You see this iridescence? That is what is desirable in one of the things. And as we come in and look at that. Look at that. Look at that iridescence on it. And that wonderful crystalline surface. Let's keep looking. Iridescence. Look at the iridescence there as well. A lot of things can, look at that, remove the iridescence. So for it to still be there after all these years, thousands, who knows how long, that's worthwhile. Now, when you see this face, okay, you can actually, this is what you can tell. Let me show you. This face is a cleaved face, all right? So this is actually where a piece has split off, is what it appears like. Because of the surface, I can tell that. But then also, now, it allows me to see something else I didn't notice before, and that is a possible phantom. Let me see here. Yep, there it is. We don't have to even do anything with the lights. You can see that other color in the crystal. So where you had a different color of growth. Well, look at all the way down in there. You have the original crystal and then a couple layers of color over the top of it. How cool. All right. As we continue to explore, and that's the fun to these. Look at this. Okay, so you have this botryoidal formation of Druzy quartz. Look at that. You can see the little sparkles. Look at that. Kind of like the night sky. I don't know, but then my eye goes up here to that iridescence. Okay, so you have the Druzy quartz, iridescent scalenahedral crystal. You have a phantom calcite here, additional iridescence. Oh, look at that on there. Then, growing up the side, you have, remember, all the different types of forms, habits of calcite. Well, here's another one called, well, referenced as pagoda calcite, due to the way it forms in those stair-step layers like that. Look at that growing up the side. Who would think that they're both the same mineral? But they are. And that's the wonder of crystallography. Oh, I love that iridescence. Look at coming all the way down here. And oh, look at how it envelops this crystal. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at the iridescence right there. Isn't that fascinating? Look at that. That's kind of cool. Then all this other additional iridescence. What a wonderful, look at that. Says it all kind of specimen in the world of calcite and what can be found. And these were actually found, all these specimens from Reynolds County. And if you've been watching my show for a number of years, you'll know that the other ones, that they were all found by Dosha. And that's this lady I know that has been rock hunting and mineral collecting in that area for a long time. So what she didn't collect herself, she was firsthand to get the items from someone else that might have accessed it. But most of these pieces she collected herself. So it's pretty much going from the person that collected them, you know, through me to you. So you can't get much closer than that. And I had bought an entire portion of her collection, which was extensive, and it was so inexpensive. It was really a super value. All right, this piece, I am going to discount it before I even offer. This is the first time I'm shown it. But well worth the $68 on it, but let's do this. $48. I don't want anyone to have a second thought. $48, and you've got something really neat and special right there. All right, now let's go to, oh yes, here is one I have held back. It's one of the Pakistani 4s, 108-1922. Sounds like a good year. I wasn't around, but 1922. That was after the First World War. That was before the stock market crash in 1928. So, yeah, the flappers going on. Oh, what I can make just from a number. All right, check this out. But one thing that didn't happen was the discovery of this sphene had not occurred yet. No sirree. Look at this. This is one of my favorites out of the batch I had gotten, and I've been hanging on to it because look how large it is. It has this whole face of sphene crystals. Look at all these with the clinochlor around it and calcites. Now let's go in closer and give you another look. All right, so I see something I hadn't noticed before. This particular formation in a fan shape. I'm not quite sure. Dave, can you do your magic? What's that? I had not looked at this any closer, but that is not a sphene. Oh. Yeah, I could. Let me look at that. Yeah, that's not a sphene. Let me just do this for a moment. Oh, look at Dave go. Wow. That could be, since calcite forms in so many different ways, a calcite. You could check the fluorescence of it. But look at the way, if it did, the way it formed with those additional sprays within it. See, that's what's fun. That is what's fun, is the unknowns. For me to tell you what everything is, that's not. What is that red crystal down in there? Now that is cool. That is cool. There are rare garnets that are found, and that could be one. But look at deep in that pocket. Now let me show you exactly what we were showing you. Through Dave's magic and a 10 power loop, you can't even see it. You can't even see it. But we just showed it to you, and I had not spotted that before. So that's under some high magnification between his and my. We showed you something really neat that you should investigate down there. I tell you what, if this, I certainly will. It's even small things like that. I had a specimen of bonitoite, and the crystals were so-so. It was still, for bonitoite, a nice specimen. And I noticed these little tiny orange crystals under magnification. And they were really beautiful and clean and well formed. And so I had to do some research as to what was being found with the bonitoite. And you know what I found out? They were Joaquinite, as in like the San Joaquin Mountains. Joaquinite. And they were found nowhere else, basically, but associated with the bonitoite mines right there. And that's why they were named after the surrounding mountains. And so it was only, and then to be able to add that to the description of the bonitoite, talking about two rare minerals on one specimen, and the Joaquinite was never found in any bigger crystals. It's always found in these micro-sized crystals. So I found something that was one of the best ofs, even if it was that small. And for it to be a part of the mineral specimen absolutely added value. Needless to say, I had at least a dozen high-end bonitolite specimens, and I don't know if any of you are listening that got in on any of them, but if you did really well, and I was really not so smart to sell any of them, but that's what I do. I enjoy items, and then I share them with all of you. All right, so sphenes, unknown down there, unknown here, beautiful clinochlore. Let's explore the rest. Look it up here. Yes, there's more. And as we go in closer, you're going to find that there are calcites. Look at these beautiful calcites. Look at these crystals. Not exactly sure what was in there. There was something there. You can see the 6 sides to it. Look at that, actually. That was something pretty significant that popped out. So you probably have feldspars, and oh, yes, fluorescence. I can already tell from this material that it's going to fluoresce beautifully. A lot of feldspar, by the way, will fluoresce a wonderful red color, a deep red color. So, and as we look along the line here, you can see these sphenes projecting up. Just a wonderful face of sphene. And maybe that's an unusual form of sphene, but I don't know. That's a new one to me. So lots of show value right there. Price on this. So the feldspars are a type called adularia, which is a potassium feldspar, and they're named for the Adular Massif in Switzerland. So a massif is like a big outcropping type thing. So the, or mountain. So named for the Adular Massif in Switzerland, which I didn't know. So adularia, where we get adularescence, which is the reflection of moonstone and many other feldspars have, that's its origin of its name. Interesting. Monoclinic, and it's a type of orthoclase. So adularia belonging to the orthoclase family, and a monoclinic crystal shape, which is like many calcites. That's the parallelogram, and I can already see those. So that's one way how you can tell what type of feldspar it is. Price on this one, it's one really fine sphene, only $128. And it'll be one of the finest specimens that you'll see or be offered. Sphene specimens are quite a rarity. Now, let me see what we have. Okay, I have another rarity. First, let me show you this jewel. Item 1072422. 1072422. And this guy sold a lot of the other ones I see. Those other wonderful ruby deals, and this should have sold as well. So let me just get this out, remove that. All right, a star ruby, 2.55 carat, Indian star ruby, 7.9 by 5.7 millimeters. And you can see just how well those legs of the star are. And it has a really nice polish and finish to it, which is unusual because a lot of them don't. Or a lot of them have a really deep belly to them above the girdle line. And look at how nicely finished it is. By the way, when you see that, if you have a piece of rough in the ruby and you see that chatoyant reflection on the base like that, you don't really see any legs, but when you see that, there's in the crystal will often show that. Or if you're doing a light window or a light grinding into it and you find that reflection, there's a real good chance that it will star when you put a proper cabochon dome on it. And this one's showing off the 6 legs really well. Rubies don't show the legs as well as a sapphire will in general, across the board. It's kind of unusual, weird about that. But of course, a star ruby is a much more rare creature than a star sapphire. That has a really nice star. I'm surprised that one is left, or maybe I had never showcased it before. But we're going to make it a price that you can't refuse, an offer you can't. How about this? Only $21. Only $21 on that jewel. And oh yeah, that is a discount. That's a great opportunity. All right, let me tuck some things away, and I'll be right back. I was so lucky when I was working with my Moroccan dealer, Havis, to get him on a date when he was just back with this new barite that hadn't been in the market before. And it was so expensive. I could not believe what this material was going for. Look at this barite though. And okay, so it's in limonite. You have to see all the other crystals around it that the limonite cover. There's no good way to remove the limonite or they would do it. So it's pretty much the way you can extract it with as little damage to any barite as possible and still come out with a nice specimen. This one came out wonderful. When you see the blades of barite like that, as we come in closer on them, look at that. Look at that. That is the way it's supposed to look. That is a great showpiece when you have the crystallization like that. Very little damage, nicely separated from each other, and it would be tedious, but you could clean the specimen up more so. Look at this. I'm going to say that would be, oh, look at, okay, so it's a big blade of barite. Look at that. All right, I was wondering what that is. So look at the crystallization. This is almost, you see, all barite and with limonite getting in the way. Poor limonite. Limonite is a kind of a word that takes in all kinds of different iron oxides and is associated with many, many other minerals. But this is really quite attractive, and like Raven says, there's no such thing as an ugly rock or specimen, and she's right. Once I, kind of tilted my head a little bit, and even looking at this, no, that limonite is beautiful in its own way, and its elements add a lot to the creation of other specimens. So this is the main thing you want to look at. That main spray, that is the money shot, so to speak. And believe me, a lot of this is, the limonite is crumbling away as I touch it. So it could be cleaned up quite a bit if you wanted to take the time. Price-wise on this, it's an amazing deal. I have exactly where it came from. I can't pronounce the Jebel Witchain mine. Barium sulfate, BaSO4, hardest of 3, heavy mineral. Heavy mineral. The Greek is a Greek word for heavy, for the unusual weight for a non-metallic mineral. You should feel the weight of it. It is heavy, and I've always wondered why. So the name certainly fits what I can feel. Big discount on this relative to the market value of these blue barites. I'm going to make that one only $44. Only $44 on that. Let's look at item one. Let me make sure I get this right. 101. No, hold on. Yeah, 1013721. 1013721. And this could have been presented earlier, but I didn't have my act together when I showed you the other brucite. Look at this. Now, this is the way most brucite is found, with this matrix. And that's why I told you on that other specimen, this is already put up and wrapped up, I'd show it to you, why it was so unusual for it not to have any of this matrix. This matrix kind of reminds me of the limonite. It's just interwoven with the brucite. Now, you can actually see crystallization of brucite. This is actually a crystal form, the way you can see the growth and the kind of the layered, waxy, look at that, look to it. And again, this is nice quality for the translucency and the color. So this specimen next to one with no matrix would make a great display, especially if you had a faceted stone to go with it. You can see that's a nice large size, excellent color, and just a really nice collectible piece. I actually had one, some of you may remember it, and it was a yellow, round yellow brucite with a lot of matrix around it, and it looked like a fried egg, sunny side up fried egg. And of course, I don't know, I think it sold for that reason. It was a really neat looking piece. Anyway, how about this one? How about this one for only, and this is crazy compared to what again, brucite was kind of like that blue barite. These were all found when, I don't know, there must have been a gold rush, so to speak, to the mountains of Pakistan, because so many beautiful mineral specimens were finally able to either make it to the market or were being discovered, or the political situation changed to where they could access, these areas that they couldn't before. And this was another amazing mineral that came out from an area that we didn't think we'd ever see anything such of this quality. Price on this one, how would you like it for only, oh my, $38. $38. That is a kind of a giveaway price. Let's look at this next one from my personal collection, 1080522. An Oko geode, except one of the high-end best AA, AAA, however they rate them quality-wise. I was paid off many years ago on a debt with, there was about 20 flats of Okos. Yeah, I kid you not, but I sold them to a very well-known, very astute buyer. Sold most of the flats. Of course, I cherry-picked through some before he got them. And when I think back, I sold them to him way too inexpensively. But I did hold some. Look at that. Look at that. This is world-class Okos. I call it plume agate around the edge because of the plumes. I can't think of a better name for it because all of them have this same type of formation. Look at those crystals of goethite. Let's go in there, Dave. And those are some of the best form, believe it or not, goethite, which is another iron oxide crystals I have seen. And then look at the beautiful, oh, hold on, I got a point to it. Look at this lovely, larger quartz crystal in there. And what is that? I don't want to touch it. That could be a crystal. Wonderful, wonderful specimen. And I like the way they wrap them. Look at that. And there's the other side. Oftentimes there'll be calcite in there if you look closely. All right, that is the best Easter egg anyone could ever give me. Here we go. How about this? I think most of the other ones I offered have sold. This one, either I didn't show it or it went unwanted, but I think I will be able to find a home for it by offering it for only $21. $21 on that. There's a deal. All right, let's see. We only have a couple minutes left with you, so let me get in this item, which is an incredible deal. Hold on, let me see. Yep, like I always say, gotta finish with a zeolite. So this will be the last item of the show, 106252. 106252, and it. Let's see. Did I get it wrong? 1062522. Is that?
You're just leaving the last two out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, there we go. Okay, now I have this on a stand. It'll sit by itself, but for display purposes at the moment, it looks good on the stand. Let me show you. This is, you can see, nice large size specimen. And this is so clean by way of its lines. You know, you have this wonderful face of all these are little formed quartz crystals. Then look at these apopholites, and let's go in and look at the stilbites. These stilbites have this wonderful bow tie to them, and look at how well formed those apopholite crystals are. Remember I said earlier there was a specimen that had square calcites that Prehnite did, and I said look at how similar. You can see why I said that because of this square shape, but look at many of the apopholites have these other angled, and that's where you can identify items when you see enough of them by their crystal structure. Isn't that beautiful? Then now look at all these little snowy crystals of quartz. Look at that. Look at them all. Yeah, it is like sugar. Look at that. I think that's just amazing. I think that little it makes a beautiful, beautiful backdrop to these others. And I have a ridiculous price on this zeolite just because I think everyone needs to own a zeolite and know all about the zeolite family because it has so many neat, unusual things and properties about it. Here we go. This amazing large specimen, price on it, my goodness. Do I dare? I am. $28. $28 on that. Wow. All right, and with that, wraps up the show. I'm going to put together a couple of trivia questions, and we'll be right back. Hey, okay, trivia time. And like I said, it was so great to be able to get trivia time in last week. And, you know, I always kind of give away cool stuff, so I know you all look forward to it. And I know there's a lot of you out there that watch, buy, but don't participate in the comments and the trivia. So come on out of that closet, quit looking at those fluorescent minerals, and send in your comments. You don't have to even participate in the trivia, but this is a show that was created and where comments were actually encouraged as part of the learning process. And as it's turned out, it's one of all of yours favorite part of the show. And Asif, my director and producer and everything else, they were joking beforehand that about how long sometimes my diatribe is at the beginning of the show, and took a couple jabs at me. But as long as all of you like that interaction, that's how we have come together as the little family unit that we are, and how you have learned so much more by inquisitiveness and by sharing. So I'm glad to see that that sometimes my time spent is enjoyed by all of you, and I certainly do. I know there's times that I need to hear that loving rocks my entire life was not the wrong path to choose. I see my son and other people really successful, and here I am. But I'm doing what my hobby has been my entire life. So I really need to have no regrets over doing something that I love, no matter if I wind up in the poorhouse. So I am Charlie Brown, who looked forward to getting that rock in his stocking or his Halloween bag or wherever else he was giving what would be something negative to most people, but would be one of the best things you could give me. And I'll add one other note to that, because it includes people like my doctor. He travels, and when he goes and other people go somewhere and they say, what can I bring you back? Well, I don't even ask to wait to hear what can you bring you back. I say, I want you to bring me back. And it's so easy. It's a rock, just a rock, but tell me exactly where you got it from. And it is one of the easiest things, anybody can do. It doesn't cost them anything. And I found the doctor was actually searching out for just the right rock. My son has sent me all kinds of people. So I have all these neat, interesting rocks with labels as to who gave them to me and where they were from. Everywhere from a fjord with a 50-foot tidal surge in Newfoundland to, a rock from one piece of limestone from right near the some of the Roman ancient buildings, artifacts, I guess, and things that were left behind. So some of the, that kind of historical rock is really neat, and it's great to me. To anyone else, it would just be a rock, but to someone like me, it's my passion, it's my love. So anyway, are you ready? 2 trivia questions. Most of the time they have to do with the show, so your memory will be fresh. No replaying to find the answer. You can take all the notes. Notes are encouraged, and you can use those for your answers. All right, question number 1. I'm going to give you a little more information in this question, just because it's a great learning lesson. So the question is, what mineral was named after a professor at Yale, professor of geology and chemistry at Yale University? So what mineral was named after a professor of chemistry and geology at Yale University? The mineral also, this is where your extra information comes in, which actually may help you more than anything else. The mineral also is a polymorph. Now, a polymorph, I'm even going to tell you what that is. That's why I said this question is going to come with a lot of other information. A polymorph is a mineral or minerals that have the same chemical formula, but a different crystal formation, which allows them to look totally different and yet have the same chemical makeup. So, rutile has brookite and anastase, and there's many other minerals that have other polymorphs like that. All right, so, but that was just additional information. What mineral was named after a professor of chemistry and geology at Yale University? Okay, second question is this. Oh, by the way, the mineral composition, I'm even going to tell you because I think it's kind of fascinating that you have that mineral and the 2 polymorphs, and they're all made up of aluminum, silicate, and oxygen. And everything from beryl, crystal beryl, there's so many minerals that just have that simple makeup. Remember, corundum, which is ruby and sapphire, is Al2O3. 2 atoms of aluminum, 3 atoms of oxygen make up 1 molecule of corundum. And so this is just Al2SiO4, and then another oxygen. So SiO4, when it's in brackets, mean a molecule of that creates the silicate part. So yeah, it's pretty neat that 3 important minerals only have the chemical formula being the same of aluminum, silicate, and oxygen. Sometimes things are simpler than what we want to make them out to be. Second question, name 2 minerals shown that would be called or classified as iron oxides. So they were in the show, 2 minerals shown that were and would be classified as iron oxides. Now there's a lot of them, a lot more than 2, but we're just looking for 2 that were shown. And some of you may come up with a third. I wasn't using enough brain power to think of a third one that might have been shown, but I know that 2 were. So I'm looking for those 2, and if there was another one that I showed, then I'll accept that as well. Okay, so there's your questions. I look forward to your answers and your comments. Again, I'm appreciative to all of our veterans out there and to all of you for your support, your kindness, your sharing, your love, your warmth, and your continued support of this show, which supports me directly and my family and our needs at difficult times. And you've been there for Gem Shopping, and Gem Shopping wants to be back here with you. So keep in mind the phone numbers. As you see on the screen, the very top number will only be good till Wednesday. After that, you'll need to use the number that you see in the corner of your screen that has Gem Shopping underneath it. That would be 888-791-5933. That'll be the new number from Wednesday on. Make sure you change it in your devices, because you want to be the first one to get in on the phone, and you don't want to be held up because someone may get that precious, one-of-a-kind item that you saw in this show, and you just have to have it. That's the way I hope your passion runs, because that's the way mine does. All right, God bless all of you. I hope you're having a great fall. Looking forward to family and Thanksgiving, and find as many reasons as you can to be thankful. They're there. I know I've had to do that when I think that there isn't, but those reasons are there. God bless. God bless America, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Monday. Cheers.